America wants to protect its hegemony. China wants infinite expansion. India wants to become a superpower. What's Russia's end game? Where does it what does it ultimately aspire other than counterbalancing now China and now America and in the future China? Well, I disagree that India wants to become a superpower. India's people want India to become a superpower. India's government is doing nothing in that direction because to become a superpower, you need to exponentially increase your hard power and your power projection capabilities. What's India doing about it? Nothing, right? You can't become a superpower through slogans. Look at the United States in the past. Why was it a superpower? Because it was able to project power globally at a moment's notice. Why was Russia a superpower? The USSR? Because it was also able to project power globally at a moment's notice. And it had a very strong presence globally, diplomatic presence, economic presence, and military presence globally. Warships, submarines, aircraft carriers, a blue water navy. So, does India have any of that? Is India even trying to develop that? No. Therefore, India's government doesn't seem to aspire towards India becoming a superpower. India's people do want it, but India's people are their aspirations are falling on deaf ears. Now, about Russia, what is Russia's endgame? So Russia's endgame is Mr. Vladimir Putin's endgame because he is the de facto emperor or Tsar of Russia. So Vladimir Putin is basically trying to expand Russia's sphere of influence, whether it is in the Donbass region, whether it is in Ukraine, whether it's in the Crimea, whether it's in Central Asia. He sees all of these territories as Russia's native sphere of influence, Russia's natural sphere of influence, Russia's historical sphere of influence. So basically, Mr. Putin is like a Tsar. He has imperial ambitions. He is the emperor of Russia. He is called the president, but that's what he actually is. Now, the Americans have encircled Russia through Western Europe, etc. From Afghanistan as well, they try to do that, right? And that is what Russia has tried to counterbalance. And they have created a de facto alliance with China, a quasi alliance with China, to counterbalance the Americans. Now, Russia is very much aware that the Chinese are also a long-term threat to it. The Chinese are an expansionist power. The Chinese will be content with nothing except global domination. So that will eventually conflict with Russia's self-interests. So the long-term future between Russia and China is that of conflict. That is given, it's guarantee. Even today, Russia has pointed ballistic nuclear missiles at China in various places, right? So the problem with Russia is that it doesn't seem to have a proper succession plan. The Chinese Communist Party has a very clear plan of succession. They will have political continuity. The next president will be somebody from the Chinese Communist Party, somebody who is appointed by the Politburo, by the National Executive or whoever it is. And the overall long-term objectives of the Chinese Communist Party will remain unchanged, no matter who becomes the next president. In the case of Russia, there is no such body like the Chinese Communist Party in Russia. It's just a one-man game. It's Vladimir Putin. So the question is, one day Mr. Putin will have to step down, either when he is very old or whatever the circumstances are. One day, a new person will come in his place. So will that person continue with the same policies and plans, and will that person have the same objectives, long-term national objectives, as Mr. Putin? So is there a proper succession plan? The succession plan is what ensures continuity of a civilization, a kingdom, an empire, a country, whatever. Why did the Mongol Empire break up? Because the succession was problematic. Why does any empire break up? Because of problems in the succession. In the case of China, they have a good succession plan. It's a very stable system. In the case of Russia, we still don't know. So that is the main question. That's the big question. Will Russia have political stability and continuity in the next 10, 20 years when Mr. Putin will definitely be much older? Will he be able to continue in power, or will he delegate his power and authority to somebody else? Or will it be taken from him somehow? This is the big question in Russia. So that is a big unknown right now. And that is also what the Chinese are waiting for, because they are The Chinese have a 100-year plan. They don't plan for the next 5 years the way we do in India. Every 5 years, we have new policies and new plans. There's no continuity. So that is the question. As of today, we don't know. The end game, I think Russia doesn't have any expansionist hegemonic ambitions. It wants to be a major power. It wants to remain a major power, and it wants that to continue. It doesn't seek global hegemony the way the Americans seek or the Chinese seek. But will it be allowed to continue playing that role is the big question. Mr. Putin is very strong. He's a very strong man, right? We know his policies are very good, very and very clear. He's got clarity of thought. He's got clarity of action and plans and strategy and all that. But after him, what happens? That is the main question, and that is the big unknown as of today.